Hi, welcome to the Gear for Music Orchestral channel. We're here today with Nik Carter, who's a Yamaha saxophone artist, and we're looking at the Yamaha Tenor Saxophone range. You've got your entry, your intermediate and your entry-level professional instruments. So Nik, what's really good about the YTS-280 for beginners?
Well, essentially they play straight out of the box. And by that I mean that they are designed to, in a sense, be easy to play. And that starts from up here, the crook, the neck, being really nicely free blowing.
Yep.
As with all Yamaha stuff, it's all made so well, really solid all around here where you'd get any potential weaknesses. It's all really well thought out. So it makes it free blowing all the way down to these bottom notes, which you can close to a low B flat, and all the way up to the highest keyed note on this saxophone, which is a high F sharp.
So you've got the whole range there. You've got everything you're going to need as a beginner to be able to play.
Yeah.
And get started with all the pieces.
Definitely. And again, it's light as tenor saxophones go. This particularly, the 280, is the lightest of the sort of three that we have here.
Yeah, so it just helps when you are a beginner to do a little bit. If you're doing longer practices, it's not gonna take a toll on you. And while you're still learning and sort of building up your muscles, really, because it does take a little bit of strength to be able to play it for longer time.
Definitely, yeah. There's other great additions as well that make it easier. Things like these key guards and stuff are nice and solid. The side low B flat, B and C sharp, which is this here. Keys. Again, it's not on the models here. You can see there's a slight addition, which is a rocking feature. These on this one, it doesn't have that, which in a sense is a good thing. It's not overcomplicating the saxophone. It makes everything. You're not going to mistakenly press something around here because it becomes quite sort of small, even though they're operating quite big keys, sort of further away from where you are here. So it works really well, and that's the same with the front F key here as well. On this one, we have like a forked one, which is
the same on the 480 as well.
That's
isn't it?
right. Yes. Yeah. So when you're getting a bit more involved with the saxophone and
you're really you've got
you
your
want
placement,
it under the fingers.
you know where you're going to go, you know where you've got to go, and while you're sort of learning where your keys are and getting confident in the placement, it's a little bit more confidence there.
And also because and it stops the sort of things when you're learning like anything, you're learning to play. There's accidental things you might press or whatever, and as you can see on any saxophone, there's a lot of keys, there's a lot of stuff going on.
There's a lot going on.
So it just makes it easier. You try not to do that when you get to the pro ones, but again, it becomes more under the finger. So again, it's very well thought out. Less is more. I think they've really thought about what a student will need, what makes it, what's going to make it really beneficial to them. Yeah. And then obviously as well, giving you the next movement to be able to upgrade to something. aesthetically, they're different as well, where here we've obviously just got smooth lacquer, and obviously on the 480 you then get the introduction of the engraving, and the same on the 62 you get a bit more engraving as well.
Hand engraved bells on the 480 and the 62, so it's just that little bit more attention to detail as you sort of move up into the more sort of intermediate and professional level models, which kind of reflects with the technicalities as well. So you've got the aesthetic details, but also you've got things like the additions to the bell guard, which allow you to make sort of more technical, precise sort of
adjustments and things.
Yeah,
just things like that's on the venting and stuff, which again I'd sort of always recommend you take to a repairer or a technician to sort of help with that. And I think that's when you're when you're moving through, you might find that that's beneficial. I think though, certainly with the entry level, and because of the way Yamaha are set up as to play out of the box, all of that is taken care of. We mentioned before the improvements to the low end, which is the key work. They've made things that the keys basically so that it all seats better. So when you're pressing these down, one, it's under the fingers, which is brilliant on the student models and things. And again, in combination with a free blowing neck, it's making these lower notes where there's so much more air required in the sense to pass through. It's further for the air to travel.
I mean, it's the extremes of the range that are notoriously hard, isn't it? It's the highest and the lowest notes.
Absolutely,
you just need that little bit of confidence to help you get there. And Yamaha have really thought about that at both ends of the extreme.
And also just when you're there as well, it's then once you're there and you start being able to play there quietly or being able to play higher. And those are the things that once you then start to progress through, which is again, when you move on to the intermediate things and you're perhaps focusing more on, even as a classical, or if you're doing grades, certain, you're working with dynamics within your, written music and things, and being able to play low down the saxophone nice and quietly and still produce a nice sound, but then also being able to play really sweetly right at the top end of the horn as well is really important. So I think it's the beginner one certainly gives you the just to be hearing those notes to start with, and just to be getting them without having to wrestle with it. And so many student instruments out there, they haven't taken care of that thing. Again, we've said with Yamaha saxophones as a rule, from the top custom models down to the pro entry here, things trickle down from the top.
Yeah, they really they take those features from the top, like custom models, and they really sort of try to incorporate them into the lower down models. And
definitely, yeah.
It's really a benefit to them.
Yeah, definitely, and it means the build quality is there, and I think and they make them a bit more robust and things. Certainly down on here as well, we can see where they're braced here. This is a bit more of a simplified version as to what is on here, and again on this one as well. These are sort of more resonant points that Yamaha, their experts and things, have found again around the top of the tenon here, around where the neck socket joins to the body of the instrument. You've got those improvements, which is just starting to, I don't want to say fine tune, but they're making it more bespoke as you climb further up the ladder, and really the things that you would be thinking about as a player, which is your tone, your intonation, with the tuning and your sound, and it's that natural progression from kind of
as you're getting more technical, as you're thinking about your sound more. These instruments, as you progress up them, are going to help you do that. Definitely. And obviously the neck changes as you go through as well. So you've got the 280 neck on this one, like crook, and then you've got the 480 style, and then the 62 style, obviously named after the instruments themselves, but they are all slightly different. They change the sort of the design of the shape of them, which changes how they respond and to your breath and everything like that.
Definitely. I think it's interesting to think where if you were coming to pick one of them, people might say, well, why would I go for this if I can pay a little bit more to have something? I think there is a sort of similarities. I think it's just, in a sense, not to say guaranteeing, but with this, it's going to really play out of the box. Yeah. I think then moving up once, I wouldn't say starting on something like this, because where the things have been sort of improved and a bit more, it takes a bit more sort of, where it's refined, I think, and that it's because you as a player have perhaps been a bit more refined. Yeah. But certainly I do think even with a 480, that would still be a lovely horn to start with, and I think you've still got a bridge between the two, because there is the difference of having the engraving, and arguably one could say that you could play the 480 for a longer period of time perhaps than say the 280. And
it is going to have that slightly more responsiveness in the neck, and you've got the tonal sort of resonance weak points are even more sort of thought about, and you have got the sort of upgrade features with the bracing and all sorts of things like that, and how they
I mean, maybe it'd be an idea for, say, like, you know, if you're playing the clarinet and that's your, say, first study instrument, or if you're a flautist and you want to get into sort of, you're starting to get into playing shows in your school, or you're playing more music that would require you to double. So therefore, you're not a beginner. You're learning the saxophone as a new instrument, but you're musically, you can read music, you understand. Certainly with the flute and clarinet, they're part of the woodwind family, so there's the similarities, obviously, between the, you know, the fingering, the key work to a flute and the clarinet. It's a combination pretty much of both.
Of course.
So I would suggest that the 480 would be a great instrument for someone who wanted to just get into saxophone.
Yeah.
And you could be using it like that, you know, as
sort
opposed
of
to having
increase
to,
your skill set.
yeah, because you may already have a nice clarinet and a nice, I should say actually a nice Yamaha clarinet and a nice Yamaha flute, you know, wink. No, I think it would, you're going to notice the quality because you understand the build. If you've got nice instruments already, then yeah, it's going to be that. But then if you're just coming at it from just learning to play saxophone, which we said earlier, it's great. You can start the saxophone as your first instrument as opposed to having to learn clarinet first or something.
Which is what you had, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
You were made to learn clarinet
well, back
first.
then, yeah, I'm glad. I should have worked harder because I have to use a lot of clarinet now and again. So,
I mean, it's useful to be able to play them all, and like you say, in sort of show settings and gig settings, you do have to swap between them quite often. And the way that these are built, with the quality that you've got that reassurance that if you are swapping between them, you know what you've got, and it's going to support you with whatever you need.
Definitely, yeah. I think they've got it covered really with those. So it's nice to think about it like that as well. I think that's the, you know, to think if you're already playing stuff, then this could be the one for you. And indeed this as well, because if you like, say, if you're even more advanced in the sense that you've got your grade 8s, or it's not even about having grades. You could be, I didn't do grade 8 till I think I was 18 when I did it, because I'd focus more on jazz to get into music college, but I thought it was a good thing to do, a good discipline to have. So if you're of that sort of standard and wanting to go on to uni, or it's just just a hobby and you're really at that standard, I think, you know, something like this could be a really great instrument as well, because it's even sort of high end, and you're going to know the nuances, and you're going to respect that it takes a bit more doing, the same as, you know, if you're playing a student flute to a professional flute, and the same with a clarinet. I think, you know, they are advances, but then it's, you know, you work a bit harder as well, because the results that you get are so much more. Tying it all in with all of these being slightly different, as you said, student, intermediate and entry-level pro, they all come with a Yamaha 4C mouthpiece.
They do. They all come with the same mouthpiece. They all come with the 4C. And it really shows that Yamaha really trusts that mouthpiece. It really shows that they know that they've got a good mouthpiece, and it will help you get the best out of your instrument. You can play it straight out of the box, which when we get a new instrument, we all want to do it, don't we? We just want to play it straight away. And the 4C will let you do that, and it really will let you get the whole range of the instrument. And if you want to change your setup, your setup is a very personal thing, and it can change your sound, but the 4C will give you that great sound straight out of the box, and it will support you with whatever style of music that you want to play. It's a really versatile and all-round instrument mouthpiece.
Exactly, and I think it's meant as that as well, because it's been like that. I mean, the ones I've had in the past 20 years ago when I first became an artist for Yamaha, they came with the 4Cs. Now I was already, I think I was 20 when I got 21 when I got into it. So anyway, I had had my own mouthpiece. I had my own way of doing things, shall we say? So it wasn't necessarily something that I needed to use, but the fact that these do come with it, if you're coming at it from a beginner angle, as I say, from wanting to learn another instrument to add it to your arsenal of things you already play, then it's a great place to start. You know it's going to sound good, and then it gives you time to find your feet with the other. They're not just, and Yamaha, again, they're not trying to overload you with that. They're giving you all this information with these saxophones and everything that they do, from the the way the keys are improving, the different way they resonate, the different things like that. But the mouthpiece, it's like, okay, this will work, this is there, and then you can find your feet. And they do come in different sizes, the Yamaha ones as well. I mean, often 5Cs and various different things,
Obviously, with this range of saxophones, beginning with your entry level to your intermediate and to your entry level professional, you've got everything you need. Yamaha have thought about all of it, and they're upgrading you in small but significant ways as you go up the range. So you get the added benefits, you get the extra features, all of it which has cascaded down from the custom pro level instruments. And they've really thought about it, and they're all a great place. You've got a great place to start, a great place to upgrade, and a great place to start your professional career.
Absolutely, well put.
Thank you so much for talking to us about these today.
Oh, you're welcome.
If you've got any questions or any comments, please put them below and we will do our best to answer them. Otherwise, please subscribe for more content like this. Thank you very much.